Welcome to Out of Bounds, Episode 3. Sorry, my camera's off just a little bit there. Move that up for you guys. I'm here with Brandon, of course. It is Monday night, 8 o'clock, live on YouTube, exclusive here from Rocket Sports Cards. We have Episode 3 of Out of Bounds. Really cool episode for you tonight. We got lots of stuff coming up. Current topics in sports. We're going to talk about what your favorite sporting event would be if you had a chance to go. We did the bucket list a couple weeks ago or last week. So this week we want to know if all the bets are on the table, where would you go? So we're going to get into that real soon. We got quite a few people watching live already. I want to say hi to Cindy, hi to Fred. If you are online, definitely say hello. This is an interactive show. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you guys think about the topics. Pretty much a lighter side of things tonight. Nothing too serious like in the past. Last week we did hazing in sports. Last week we did... I can't even remember now. Do you know?
We talked about politics in sports.
Politics in sports, a very serious issue. Tonight's a little bit more fun. Maybe one or two serious things, but nothing. We're going to have some fun tonight. This is what the show is all about. So at this time, we will bring Brandon in live. All right, so it looks like we got quite a few people saying hello. So here's our rundown for tonight. What's your sport? The Derby audience.
Which I know nothing about.
Brandon's not a horse racing guy. As you guys know, the Kentucky Derby ran on Saturday to no audience or very, very limited amount of people. Really cool event, though. Watching sports, we're going to talk to you about that. Deshaun Watson, not an idiot. And Ripken's 25th anniversary of beating Lou Gehrig's Ironman streak. I have some issues with that, and I'm going to bring that up. I'm not too happy about it, so...
He's got a lot of issues. He's been telling me all about it off camera. Lots of issues. Be ready to dig in, guys.
So anyways, if you guys have any questions before we get started, we got a couple minutes, but what's your sport? Just a little preview. What's your sport?
Well, I'm going to talk about football. I've been to all four major sports, and I really love... Are we starting the timer? Do you want to start the timer now and get this out of the way? Or are we
No, we'll give them a few more minutes. Right. We'll let people trickle in.
I've been to all four major sports. There are certain things that I like about every single sport that you go to, which I'll talk about during my time. But if I had to pick something as an all-encompassing experience, it's NFL football.
So I do agree with Brandon. I've been to all four major sports as well. Actually, he's not a wrestling fan or a horse racing fan, so I guess I could throw those in. I've also seen professional table tennis. I'm just kidding on that one.
Lawn bowling. So
yeah, so I don't want to get into lawn bowling. Everybody gets their own thing, but go to a hometown hockey game rather than the NHL. We'll give you a chance to talk about that. It's one of those things that we talked about in the last couple of weeks about people not saying yourself, but people can't afford to go to pro sports anymore.
Which I think is going to really lend itself well to the watching sports aspect.
Yeah, you're going to want to stick around for the watching sports, the third installment tonight, the third 10-minute misconduct. Rundown of the show, this is how it works. We have 5 topics. We got a 5-minute open. We're just about almost done. We're going to have 5 10-minute misconducts. We spend 10 minutes on each subject, and then we are done. It gets put away, and then there's a 5-minute close. The close is usually reserved for comments or questions for us, but we're pretty much open, so we'll see how that goes. But if you want, we can start on what's your sport.
Yeah, sure. Don't forget to jump in, guys, because we want to see your comments as much as possible. We like playing off audience interaction. That's kind of how the show is going to work.
And a big thing, too, if you haven't done so yet, definitely like and subscribe to our channel. We run this show every Monday night. It's a little bit on the lighter side of sports, stuff that they probably wouldn't talk about on the networks, but you guys get to join in as well and have some fun with us. So here we go. 10 minutes on the clock.
All right.
So I just want to put this out there. It's what's your sport, but we want to know if all bets are on the table and you had one event to go to, what are you picking? Any event? And I kind of worded this as like a big event. So if you could go to, say, the Super Bowl or Game 7 of the World Series, what's your go-to?
Okay. So right off the top, I mentioned that I had been to all Big Four sports. I love the speed of hockey, and I mean I played hockey, so I had an opportunity. Like I love watching professionals play hockey. Just how quick the game is. It's so much faster in person than it is actually on television. Basketball, surprisingly, when I worked at Rogers Sportsnet, basketball was something that I actually got free tickets to when I was like 8 rows from the court, and I barely watched the game because I was more kind of captivated by what was happening around. There was the cheerleaders, there was the Raptor,
Raptor.
Yeah, they had basketball in terms of the actual spectacle.
Entertainment value
is amazing.
Yes.
It really is amazing, and basketball is number 4 on like all of my sports.
So
if any of them were on, I'd put basketball last.
I will segue into that. I'm going to let him get back to it, but we've been to plenty of basketball games through corporate. Through sponsors and whatnot, and so basketball probably puts on the best show as far as full entertainment value. Maybe you're not as enthralled with the game on the court, being like we're Canadian, we're probably hockey and all, that kind of thing. But as far as value for your dollar, and it's not there, like the value's not there in any sport really. But if you had to pay, if everything was $100, I'd spend my $100 probably on a basketball game because I know I'm going to be entertained the entire night. There's music playing during the play.
Oh, yeah.
There's during commercial breaks they have not just cheerleaders but just different comedy acts and all kinds of stuff.
The free throw contest.
All kinds of stuff
they're
going
pulling
on.
people out of the crowd to do things. So
there's our first comment up there. Someone is saying if they had one shot, they would go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So
that's going to be high on a lot of people's lists.
I would say, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be, I'm just kind of taking my experience in football myself. More so because of what happens before the game, the tailgating aspect of football. I've been to Pittsburgh, I've been to Cincinnati, I've been to Cleveland, I've been to Buffalo a number of times, and the tailgating, just the friendliness of the people who are there to watch the game, providing that you're wearing the home team jersey, because if you're not, then it's a little much. I've seen guys in Buffalo who do a wrestling act where they're jumping off of their vans through the tables just for the sake of we've had a little bit too much to drink and they want to have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
The tailgating aspect of football prior to, you start at like 10 o'clock in the morning. You get your
if you're an amateur.
You get your barbecue out. Well, that's usually what time the parking lots would open up. You get your barbecues out. You get your drinks out. You're tossing a football. You're going around. You're meeting people. They've got buses everywhere. Like, if you're an introvert, football is definitely not for you. But for someone who loves to go around and talk to people, find out where people are from, just meeting new people, football is definitely my choice of sport. Now, if I had to pick one event, Super Bowl obviously would be it, because I can only imagine what that would actually look like in terms of being able to go. I'll never have the opportunity to attend the Super Bowl, so I'm just going to liken it to, well, I'm never going to be able to afford it.
Why?
Well, because it's way too much money for
Out of Bounds will be reporting live from the Super Bowl maybe some year.
If we can do that, that would be amazing.
All right, I just want to get to some questions here. Adam Davis brings up a good point about baseball. He loves just walking around and taking in the sights and the sounds. So baseball's, they call it America's game. When you go to a baseball game, everybody knows that the experience, you smell the hot dogs. You hear the guy with the peanuts and the beer. He's right on the money with that. Baseball is one of those things that you could go to multiple games because you can probably get in for $10 to $20. But we're talking one game. What's it going to be? And on a lot of people's list, you have like Game 7 NBA playoff series when you hit the shot. So that's a specific game. You wish you were at that game. I get that. But it's one of those things Ryan actually commented the Super Bowl, and you said the Super Bowl as well, being a football fan. So here's my thing. I've been to NFL games as well. If you're talking about the live experience, I did go to a game at Ford Field, the Lions. They literally have probably the worst tailgating section in football. So you don't really get to experience that. It's just kind of lame on their end. But seeing a football game at Ford Field wasn't that great. But I would love, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I've been in talks with our friend Michael about going to a game. I'd love to go to Soldier Field. I think it's a whole different experience when you're in your home stadium, when you're a fan of that team. So I want to put this out there in this order. I'm not even saying what my event is yet that I would go to if I had one chance. But what I'm saying is that football is probably near the bottom of my list just because of I think football is better on television. I think football is presented way better in a television aspect, and we're going to talk about that with watching sports. One of the places you can watch sports, obviously, is DAZN.
Sure.
Basically designed for soccer and football in North America. It's just unbelievable the content you can get on there. That being said, with a nice segue, so I want to say that hockey's not high on my list either. I find hockey extremely boring live. Hockey's also boring on TV for me because I've just seen so much in my life that I'm done with it. You know what I mean?
Your old eyes can't see the puck anymore. So.
That is true as well. I need that Fox tracker for the puck. That is for sure. So here's the event. First of all, I'll give you my top three. Number 3 would be the Super Bowl, but more for the glitz and glamour of it. I think going to the Super Bowl is a water cooler type thing. You just want to go just to tell people you were there. Because let's be honest, probably 95% of the time your team probably won't be taking part.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just one of those things. You're going to tell people you went. It's one of the you spend that kind of money, you're going to tell everybody, right? I know a few people that have gone to the Super Bowl, and every time I see them, they tell me they went to the Super Bowl. And this was Indianapolis and Chicago, how many years ago? 2000 something. Anyways, but every time I see them, they mention the fact that, hey, I went to the Super Bowl. Did you know that? And I'm like, okay, like for the 50th time. Number 2 on my list is WrestleMania. So we got a message up here. Playoff game at Lambeau. Go Pack, go. Maybe those are coming to an end fairly soon with Rodgers being close to the end. And,
the problem with that, though, is there's no tickets for a playoff game. Or there's no tickets even for a regular season game at Lambeau because it's all season tickets.
Well, first of all, you can get tickets.
But yeah,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
You want to pay out the...
If you want to go, you got to pay for it. But if it's what you want to do, there's always a way in. And that is 100% the truth. So 50% of the tickets at Lambeau are probably available every Sunday. There's a dedicated 50% that would never sell their tickets and they go every game.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, sporting events are one of the easiest things to get into because, well, they happen so often. Even football, eight times a year. So at your home field, anyways, got to get off the wallet. Fred is also saying WrestleMania. This is going to work time-wise with this segue. Yeah. WrestleMania. The reason for WrestleMania.
He likes men in tights.
He likes men in tights, maybe. That's hey.
I'm talking about you. I'm just talking about Fred.
Oh, okay. That's not a very nice thing to say. But WrestleMania is an institution. WWE, WWF back in the day. It's been around for 36 years now. We're talking about probably just behind the Super Bowl as far as fanfare. How many people watch it every year? It's a massive, massive event. It doesn't get the actually, it probably gets more global recognition than the Super Bowl because there's so many WWE fans like in the UK, and you got to remember that football is kind of an American thing, right? They don't play a lot of foot. They're trying to get into the European markets with it, but I don't think have they been to Asia yet? I think they had some preseason there, didn't they?
They did, yeah. They had Chicago played Europe
last year. Europe, but not Asia. So I'm talking like major markets like the Asian market, India. WWE, WWF is going to India every year on tours. They're going to now Saudi Arabia. They're going to these big markets that were untapped. So WrestleMania comes in as my number 2 experience, I would say. But with 20 seconds left to go, it is next on our topic. The one event, and it may be nostalgia, I want to take my dad there. I did get a chance to visit Louisville in March with my wife. I would go, before anything, just once to the Kentucky Derby. And I'm going to tell you why as we switch over to the Derby audience. We want to bring in the Derby audience with nobody being allowed to be there due to COVID. It was kind of weird seeing it on TV. Some of the things you need to know about the Derby. So I've got some stats for you. It is known in the United States as the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, or the fastest 2 minutes in sports, because of the fact that it usually runs it runs around 2 minutes. So Secretariat still holds the track record. I think it's 1:59 and change.
Totally have an inappropriate joke that about Cindy and the under 2 minutes for you.
All right, so I just went to get some interesting facts about the Kentucky Derby. So the Kentucky Derby is pretty much, I think it's the longest running sporting event in North America. There's a very good event as well, the Masters.
The Masters, I didn't even think of.
So golf would be up there as well for the Masters. That's a very good suggestion. It's a yearly event, and it's the biggest event in that sport, just like the Kentucky Derby. So the Kentucky Derby kicks off the Triple Crown, the Preakness, the Belmont Stakes. It started in 1887. Aristides was the first winner. I want to tell you how much money was bet at the Kentucky Derby last year. We don't have this year's stats yet. $165 million was bet at the track alone. That's not considering online betting coming in through the internet. It set a record for the amount of betting for one sporting event in history. So that's more than any Super Bowl, anything.
You a gambler, by chance?
I do gamble, but not on sports. I do want to say $165 million was bet at the track. So an interesting fact about Churchill Downs, where the event is held, they only accept cash.
I was just about to ask if it's cashless or not.
It is a cash event only.
So
when you go to the ticket teller, they only take cash. You cannot use debit or credit card, only cash. So someone is walking out of there, the Churchill Downs staff is walking out of there at the end of the day with $165 million minus losses.
What kind of security is out there, you think?
They had tanks outside on Saturday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so to keep people out, they actually had Humvees and tanks outside the gates on Saturday. It's an institution. They're big on the event. How do I say this? They're big on tradition. So I'm going to give you a few things about the Kentucky Derby. Some interesting things that I learned. We did a tour of the Churchill Downs. Some really interesting things that people might not know. I just got it's my top 6 anyways. So celebrities. Back in the 1800s, late 1800s, they were getting to the part where it was a popular event, but they started to lose some attendance figures. So they decided, how do we boost our attendance figures? And they actually went out and said, well, let's invite celebrities to the event, and that might get more people to come out locally. So they were the first event to literally go out and attract celebrities to their event. Even to this day, Queen Elizabeth was there a few years ago. It is one of the most celebrated sports by celebrities in the world, just like the Super Bowl. And I want to segue with that because basically, if there was no Churchill Downs, I don't think we would have an event like the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl took a lot of ideas from the Kentucky Derby as far as inviting celebrities and getting it on the grand scale. Adam Davis brings up another couple points. The Garland of Roses. It is called the Race for the Roses, or Run for the Roses. Very famous, kind of like Indianapolis, where they drink milk at the finish line. When you do win at the Kentucky Derby, your horse is draped in roses. Funny thing about this year, the winner being, I had it here, Authentic, went off 1880 to win, so he's a huge long shot to win. He beat out Tis the Law, and it says, I read a cool article, in 2020 fashion, he went on a rampage in the winner's circle. I did see this, spinning around and knocking down his trainer, Bob Baffert. Like he
got spooked?
Yeah, he got spooked in the winner's circle and knocked down his trainer. So it was pretty entertaining anyway.
Hasn't been there now. Doesn't have a lot of experience in the winner's circle.
First time in the winner's circle. He's like, I'm a long shot.
I'm not quite sure. Now at 9-1 odds, you think that's a loss for the Kentucky Derby?
No. So I think the Kentucky Derby was hurting. I've been very clear about everything. I think sports are fixed. I think sports, to a degree, are all fixed, and you can argue all day long if horse racing maybe is one of the worst culprits because it's going back. It's gambling, right? But I want to say the favorite comes in. I think he was even money. Tis the Law. which means this is how odds are made. The more people that bet on Tiz the Law, it pays out less. So say 100 million out of that 165 million came in on Tiz the Law, with only a fraction going on Authentic. That's why the long shot. The track made a ton of money.
Okay.
So it's one of those things with no attendance this year, with no ticket sales. Maybe if you were a betting man, maybe it was the year to bet a long shot, because I think all the money needed to be made on the other end.
Do you think that Tiz the Law moving into the Preakness is next, right?
No, so the Derby was last because it was originally, that's another part of the tradition that I'm going to talk about. It's always run, or usually run, on the first Saturday in May every year, but due to COVID this year, they pushed it back to now September. So they actually ran the Preakness in Belmont prior.
No, shows how much I know about horse racing.
So it's but Adam Davis brings up a really cool part about this tradition. So there's been 13 Triple Crown winners in its history, 146 races. That's not a lot. Well, obviously, Triple Crown also encompasses the Preakness and the Belmont, but they have to win the Derby first. The most famous horse, obviously, Secretariat. I didn't mention that Sir Barton was the first Triple Crown winner, but they didn't even know about the Triple Crown then. So I believe it was 1937 when they finally started naming the Triple Crown. They went back and said, "Hey, has anybody ever won all 3 races?" And they gave them a special Triple Crown.
Right.
So the mint juleps are a drink that you can get at the track. I don't know if I'd like it or not, but here we go. So the mint julep consists of mint, sugar, and bourbon. Would you drink it?
Well, I'd try it.
So
it sounds like a mojito almost.
Yeah, it sounds like a mojito. Mint julep, the famous drink at the racetrack. I want to tell you about a couple other things that are at the racetrack. That this is one of the reasons that you want to go. The hot brown. So if you want to know what a hot brown is, my wife Cindy actually had one when we were in Louisville because it's a famous dish there. It's an open-faced turkey sandwich with I will get this right, Mornay sauce. So Mornay sauce to me was like a cheese, almost like a cheese whiz sauce on top of a turkey sandwich in the place of gravy. Hey, Alex Kurlick from Detroit just said they're not bad, you should try it. I did have a little bit of it. It's delicious. It's got bacon on it, turkey, like different. The thing that weirded me about it, it had hot tomatoes on it. So hot tomatoes to me are a little weird, but sliced tomato, not my thing. A burgoo. So I didn't get a chance to try a burgoo while I was there, but it is a stew-like substance, a spicy stew-like substance that is served on mashed potatoes. That sounds really good to me. So Alex is also saying the mint julep's a great drink. So I'm saying throw it all together. The party. I do want to put out there 160,000 people at the 2019 Kentucky Derby. Most of them on the infield. We got my old Kentucky home plays over the speakers. The famous song as they come out to the track. The entire track sings it. The entire crowd sings it. When I was on the tour of Churchill Downs, the lady said to me that if you don't get there by like 7 a.m., day of the race on the infield, you will not see a thing. You won't be on the rail. She says 95% of the people that are on the infield don't see anything. It's more about...
They're just there for the experience.
No, they're there to feel it.
Feel
it's so loud, the rumble from the crowd for those 2 minutes. It's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports in the world.
So that makes it the way that you're...
And I want to throw this out there. You also I got 20 seconds. You also have to wait. Traditionally, the Derby is run the 10th race of the day. So you have to sit through 9 races. Plus, if you get there at 7, 8 in the morning, it doesn't start till 1 o'clock. So you're there drinking in the hot sun down in Kentucky for 6, 7 hours before anything happens. But that's the kind of dedication. That's the kind of thing that I want to go to just once to experience. We had a lot of good things up there. We had the Super Bowl, obviously. We had WrestleMania, we had Game
7.
7 of the World Series, or basketball. Any Game 7 where you know that the championship will be decided is a good game to be at. But
just to wrap up the Kentucky Derby, the way you're describing it sounds a lot like NASCAR to me, which completely turns me off. I don't left.
Yeah, but it would be
just not for me.
It would be
Maybe
like
it's my ADHD. Maybe I need more stuff going on than that. I don't know.
So, yes, it might resemble NASCAR because it has a track, and that's where it probably
And the
ends.
feel, the sound, and all that.
No,
stuff.
not so much, because you got to remember these are living, breathing animals that they're riding. I do want to throw out one thing. Kudos to the Kentucky Derby, the first sport in North America to allow women to compete with men on the same level.
That is a good point as we move on. All right. Watching sports.
Watching sports. Okay. So Brandon brought up a good point with football coming back. As you guys know, if you have cable here in Canada, they took away a couple years ago. They took away the sports package for football.
For sure, yes.
It is now owned by DAZN. Here in Canada, DAZN specializes in mainly soccer, college, a little bit of college sports, and then obviously NFL here in Canada. So we were going to talk about the fact that how do you watch your games and where do you watch your games?
Sure. So this got me thinking because I was looking on the internet. I came across some social media stuff, and Sportsnet had an advertisement that said, "Don't watch illegal sports. Pay $9 to watch it on Sportsnet." And so I looked at the comments because I wanted to know what people were saying, and a lot of people, they got smashed because of that. Like the comments on there were like, "It's too expensive. There's too many blackouts," and then they were listing all these different sites that you could look at to get your NHL, to get your basketball, to get your football, so on and so forth. And it pretty much was free advertisement for the streams that you can watch your stuff on. I'll be honest with you. I am guilty of watching NHL online on streams because I love the fact that I could just switch back between games and not have to worry about the blackouts, not have to worry about commercial breaks. I could do anything I wanted to I could have it just on in the background listening while I was doing other stuff, prepping for the show or doing graphics or something like that. So I personally love the idea of just sitting at my house, not having to pay for drinks, not having to pay for food, and just seeing it in full HD on a large television. And I don't really think that in terms of going live versus television, I don't know which one I would prefer, to be honest with you now. I almost think that it's better. I would prefer to stay at home than I would to actually go to the live event just for the simple cost of it and the quality of it. And I'll be able to get anything I want and not have to worry about the heat and the fights and some of the nonsense that goes on at some of these live sporting events. So I am totally okay with streaming my games versus trying to watch them on cable and finding out disappointed that they've switched to a different game because there's not enough viewers.
Okay, I'm just gonna piggyback on that. So I'm gonna say it right now that all sports are better on television, and they get paid to be that way. So the production value, everything that goes into it, there's a lot of people working on that broadcast. Live, I've said it, and I said it earlier. The only reason that you would go to a live event is to tell people you went to a live event. It is a status thing now. We talked about the price of sports. We talked about
last week,
having it on your bucket list to go to a hockey game. You shouldn't have to pay, was it $1,200 to $1,500 to go to a hockey game for a family of four?
Yeah.
When you could literally have all four sports channels, all four major sports paid for the entire year, and then still take your kids to Disney World.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
And you could have them all running at the same time. If they were on at the same time, you could have 4 tabs, and you could say baseball, hockey, football, basketball. What do you want to watch? And
so some interesting things to think about. The number's still low for streaming compared to cable.
Sure.
So as I'm seeing, it says 30% of fans now stream their live sports to their phones and tablets. Okay? Some of the programming they're using, if you guys have never heard of it, we're not obviously advocating for this. I watch cable television still. I watch DAZN. I have DAZN for football. So DAZN, Hulu, YouTube Live, Prime, which I didn't even know. Other than I did see Thursday Night Football on Prime once. That was one of the things.
They did. They have a CBS. I think you can watch it on CBS or something.
And Fubo TV, which I've never even heard of.
Never heard of that.
So those are your top 5 streaming services. Those are all pay sites, by the way. There were a huge list of free sports sites that you could use. Ryan's saying Army maybe streams, haha. He's talking about streams. He does watch his sports on streams, I believe. But I want to get into the fact that there's 5 pay channels out there that you can watch, and it's kicking the crap out of cable right now. So if 30% of fans are switching off cable and going to the stream side of things, not to mention the people that are buying like a Amazon Fire Stick.
Sure.
So Amazon Fire Stick, for people who don't know, literally opens up everything. Is it illegal? Probably, but there's so much of it going. It's kind of like this.
If it's illegal to actually stream it, though, I was looking into it, and I think it's okay to watch it. You just can't record it and.
There's loopholes. There's loopholes in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's okay to watch it.
But it's one of those things where it's not the most reliable either, because it can go down at any second. You're not paying for it, or you are paying subscription to somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure media companies who are footing the bill to actually broadcast it will tell you anything to try to get you off of it, simply because it's taking money out of their pockets.
Exactly. So the second part to this, if you're not watching it at home, where are you watching it aside from the venue? So the top, it looks like 7 places that people watch sports that I could find. Bars and restaurants are number 1, obviously.
I have a great anecdote if you just let me jump in. Last year we went to Indianapolis, or 2 years ago we went to Indianapolis, and we found the Michigan University bar that was solely dedicated to Michigan University. And we went in there and watched Michigan and Ohio State, and after every touchdown, the crowd inside the bar would sing the Michigan fight song. And the first question they asked you when you walked in, are you here for Michigan or are you here for Ohio State? And if you said Ohio State, they would push you out the door.
Like, there's no room. There's no room.
They would not let anybody in. And that was an experience, because that was something crazy to be a part of, watching Michigan alum from Indianapolis get together and just party while watching college football, and just Ohio State
just to catch up on the comments real quick, a jailbroke Fire Stick, so he gets everything for free. So that's kind of what we're getting at. People are kind of leaning that way with the price of cable is ridiculous as well.
And technology allows you to do that, though, right? Like,
that's why we have the technology.
There are things out there that if you really want to, you'll find a way to watch the sports that you want.
Number 2 on the list of where people watch games, it makes sense. They watch them with their friends. So they're at their friend's house, or your friends come to your house, so it's at home. Work is another place. So obviously you don't want your boss to know that.
Piggybacking infrastructure, that makes sense. I like that.
So people are watching on their phones probably, so they're using the Wi-Fi at work to watch a game. At the gym, a lot of people run on treadmills watching sports, that kind of thing.
That's how I catch most of my...
in transition, so this is kind of a weird one, like people in cabs, like you're watching in a cab, like, I don't know,
Well, I have Sirius, and I will listen to NFL Network and NHL Network when certain games are on, and you can toggle back and forth between certain games. I actually don't mind listening to sports. I know it's not as good because you don't have the visuals, but if it's all you got, it's better than nothing. I'm okay with listening to the sport because they do a good job. The commentators do a great job about talking what's happening on the play, looking at injuries, looking how the play broke down. Like, they do a really good job. The commentators make a fortune for that.
So some of these don't make sense to me. In your hotel, so that's basically in your house, but you're traveling.
Yeah, forget that.
The airport is the other thing. So the airport, where are you watching sports in your airport? Because I guarantee you it's either in a bar. Or in transition, you're moving, or if, I don't know, do airports have gyms maybe? Some might have, I don't know.
Maybe really fancy ones.
Yeah, but anyways, so an airport's one of those things, like maybe while you're waiting for your flight, you're on Wi-Fi at the airport. Wi-Fi is usually free at the airport. So you're sitting at a bar or sitting waiting for in your terminal, I guess. I guess you could be watching there.
Huge stream.
So DAZN I did have DAZN. DAZN went with me wherever I went. I could be in the mall waiting for my wife, buying something, and I could watch the Bears game, and it was crystal clear HD. And as long as you have Wi-Fi or service on your phone, it worked great. So I guess I would give them the thumbs up for football coverage. It's not cheap. It's probably about $20 a month, I think. But you get every football game, and it's just a really good service.
It's pretty crazy that sports means this much to people that they would carry it with them wherever they go. Like,
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, okay, I'm at the gym, I can watch sports. I'm at school, I can watch sports. I'm in the car, I can listen to sports.
So my biggest concern, we went to LA for a conference. We arrived on Sunday. The Chicago Bears were playing a playoff game against Philadelphia 2 years ago. My biggest concern was I need to get to the hotel. So the hotel does make sense. I need to get to the hotel so I don't miss kickoff. I had about an hour and a half. We didn't have a shuttle arranged. We had to take actually we did get a shuttle, but it was kind of sketchy. But we got there literally for the anthems. So that's how much that game meant to me, that I'm in LA for the first time, and all I want to do is get to the hotel to watch the football game.
All right. Deshaun Watson, contract. Good for him.
All right.
Also known as Deshaun Watson is not
an idiot.
So I'm just really curious about what this is going to do for Dak Prescott. So in case you missed out, Deshaun Watson just signed a 4-year contract extension worth a fairly substantial amount of money. It's actually not an overly expensive
35?
contract, I think. Yeah, he's the second highest paid player behind Patty Mahomes. He makes $39 million a year guaranteed. I don't know if he's worth that. Like, I really don't.
You're shitting me right now.
I really don't know if he's worth that.
If
you look at the other guys on the list right now, you've got Patrick Mahomes making 45.
Okay.
You got Deshaun Watson making 39, guaranteed for 4 years. You got Russell Wilson, who's probably in the twilight of his career. He's making 35, so he's not going to be as good either. Ben Roethlisberger is making $34 million, and I bet you he'll be a boost for Pittsburgh, but he's also up there as well. And then you got Jared Goff and Aaron Rodgers making $33.5 each. I would love to see a Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than
Hold on.
Deshaun Watson.
Okay,
but
hold on.
Good for Deshaun to hold off. Go ahead.
The reason that Deshaun Watson got paid, him and Patrick Mahomes are both the same rookie contract year, so they're both the same draft class. They're due their contracts now. So just because you're not seeing Lamar get paid now, it's because he was a rookie a year or two ago. It's coming. So Lamar will be at the top of that list or with those guys. So when you say you don't know if Deshaun is worth that kind of money compared to the guys on the list, I think he's worth more than all of them.
In what way, though? Why?
In what way? Because he's the complete player. Okay? So Deshaun Watson... throw me under the bus if you want. I think he's a better all-around quarterback than Patrick Mahomes because he can do more for your team. Patrick Mahomes goes down, they're done. Deshaun Watson goes down, they're done too. It's the same thing.
I'll give you that, but the problem is though what you're saying is Deshaun Watson is going to put himself in harm's way more often than a Patrick Mahomes.
That's right.
There's a possibility that he's going to be injured more so than a Patrick Mahomes.
So we got a comment here. Deshaun's not an idiot because he took the money, but he's an idiot for staying in Houston.
I saw the comments and I agree with Floyd. Houston, I don't think is the place for.
I will tell you something right now. Football, above all other sports, it's the one sport where you can be 2-14 one year and 11-5 the next.
That is true.
You can rebuild a football team on the fly, and I'm telling you right now, when you have a cornerstone like a guy like Deshaun Watson, you're never going to be that far out of it. So I wouldn't worry about what it looks like right now in Houston. They've got some older guys that they need to kind of rotate out, Watt being one of them.
J.J. Watt. For sure.
Massive contract there. So just wait for it.
But how many wins does Deshaun Watson guarantee you? What do you think?
How many wins does he guarantee you?
How many wins do you think versus a replacement in there? So how baseball they have the wins over replacement. Let's do that for here. What do you think how many more wins would you have with a Deshaun Watson versus say, I don't know, Kyler Murray?
Well, you got to be careful with that because in 3 years Kyler Murray is Deshaun Watson right now. So you can't use that.
Okay, so let's compare. So pick a quarterback that's in the league of Deshaun Watson. And how many more wins would you get from a Deshaun Watson versus X quarterback?
So I think he's. So that's a tough question because are you putting Deshaun Watson on their team? So if you take Deshaun Watson,
yeah, like let's just take one player for one player and slide them.
Okay. This is how.
So let's put Deshaun Watson on Jacksonville.
No, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to do this because this is something. The QB argument's always been there with my team. You put Deshaun Watson on the Chicago Bears, they win the Super Bowl.
They have one of the best defenses, though. I understand that.
No, but I'm just telling you, like, if you take Deshaun Watson and put him on that team, they represent the NFC. You've got Mahomes, Watson in the final or in the Super Bowl, and then it's a crapshoot. That's how good he is.
But could you say that for, let's say, you put him on Tennessee?
Right as it sits right now, Deshaun Watson is the third best quarterback in the league as far as stats and fantasy go.
Okay.
Mahomes. Behind Mahomes. Actually, behind Lamar, who had the best fantasy stats last year. Mahomes and then Watson. And I want to throw this out there that you brought up Lamar being like, why isn't he getting paid? He will be the top paid guy in 2 years.
That. He will be, yes.
If he keeps up the stats that he's running with now, and then right behind him will be a Kyler Murray. It's just when you get... So in the NFL, if you're an elite quarterback, it's not how much you get paid, it's when you get paid. Because they piggyback off the last guy. And they always use that as an example. But what I want to say about Deshaun Watson getting that money, Deshaun Watson, not an idiot. He's going to stay in Houston, major market. Texas, obviously, like you've got the Cowboys and the Texans. The Texans are kind of like, if you've ever watched King of the Hill, they're like, you know what I mean? It's Cowboys and then everybody else in Texas. But the thing that you need to know is that he's in a major market. They will build a team around him. Smart play with him signing that contract, and I'll tell you why. With the unforeseeable future about sports, take the money while you can. It's a very smart play by him. Same with Patrick Mahomes. Was it really that hard of a decision, Deshaun or Patrick, if I'm speaking to you direct? Is it that hard of a decision to say, yes, I will take your $500 million, thank you to Patrick Mahomes? Yeah. Or do you get what I'm saying? That's why this Dak Prescott situation is borderline disgusting. The guy is so greedy, but it might not be him. So that's my next topic I'm going to go on here. Sports agents. Okay? So I looked this up today. I was always under the understanding that agents got 10% across the board. But I looked that up today, and the NFL actually has it capped at 3%. So a sports agent for Deshaun Watson signs a $140 million deal. 3% of that would be $4.2 million?
Yeah, a lot of money.
So the agent, over the course of that deal, should get $4.2 million, if my math's right. So here's the thing. Are the agents holding up these deals? Because the margins aren't as high as they used to be. It used to be 10%. It did say that football had to come in. Traditionally, sports agents earn between 4 and 10%, but the NFL actually scaled it back to the part where an agent can only make 3%. So maybe they're pushing for that extra $10 million total, because in the end, that's a new car for their kid. You know what I mean?
That is an interesting kind of... I didn't think about that, but I think to myself...
Across the board, it's greed, period.
Oh, for sure it is. I think to myself, though, football players throughout their lives have probably never been told no. And I wonder what the dynamic of that conversation would look like with an agent. If you're waving money in front of somebody, that amount of money, and an agent says, no, don't take it, no, don't take it. Like, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room to hear what kind of argument or persuasive conversation you would have from an agent talking to a player about that.
But is it that tight nowadays that an agent would hold back a player?
I don't know if an agent could hold back a player.
Of course they could.
You don't think that if a player said, get this deal or I'm firing you?
Then they fire him. We're seeing it right now. Like I'm reading articles about NHL players wanting to fire their agents or possibly already fired. Max Domi's one of them.
Did Prescott just not switch out agents? I'm pretty sure I read
something
that said there was an agent.
Ryan brings up Dak's been listening to the union and agent, according to Pat McAfee. So why does the union matter? Okay, the union matters because if the bar is set, it helps all players.
Well, for sure, this is going to help Dak, who's got a franchise tag.
So the NFLPA would come to Dak Prescott, and well, they wouldn't come direct to him, but he'd get word, and they would say, "Look, Dak, don't sign for anything less than $40 million, because Lamar's due soon. This guy's due soon. And obviously, the more money that they make, the more money everybody makes. The bar goes up. So with a minute to go, I just want to say that Deshaun Watson, I think, signed a good deal. Put the money in your pocket, man.
Oh, I agree.
With the fact that fans might not be back for a year or two, like we're almost a year now. So we're going to push maybe 2 years for football. No fans this year.
I almost wonder if they'll try to claw back some of that money. If the organizations will try to claw back some of that money in the next collective bargaining agreement, just in order to, because it's a $1 billion industry and you're losing billions of dollars with no fans being there. I wonder if they find a way to pull back on contracts.
I do want to say Fred just put up no player is worth millions of dollars. I completely disagree with you, Fred. If you knew the kind of lifestyle that these players had to live, for instance, we have a sports talk show and we grill them. So these players, I'm not saying they're watching our show yet, but maybe someday John Tavares comes on and he has to hear that we're literally saying he's the most overrated player in the NHL. They do have feelings.
Wow.
So, and they hear it every day from major sports networks that they screwed up last night. They didn't perform. So it with mental illness and mental,
the
anguish that it would put on a player, you could see why these guys drink, do drugs, have other escapism.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy to be a celebrity. You do not want to be a celebrity. The money's great, but they take most of it in taxes anyways, and then you never get to live a life that you're free. Let's just put it that way.
Especially from the NFL, because most of the guys who are in there are living with injuries. So we got to move on.
We're moving on. Ripken, the 25th anniversary of Cal Ripken breaking the Iron Man streak.
Just really quickly before he goes off on his tirade, I've talked with Mike a lot about these topics, and Mike was incredibly animated about this one. So I'm just going to sit back, and I want you to enjoy what I listened to with Mike earlier. Take it away.
Okay. Cal Ripken. Congratulations 25 years ago on breaking Lou Gehrig's streak of consecutive games played. 21, I have the 21-31, 21-30 was the record.
26-32.
21-31 games in a row is the record. He went further.
Yes.
But the streak was 21-31. That was the number. Lou Gehrig played 21-30. Here's what I want to say. Cal Ripken beating the streak. 19-time All-Star. Redefined his position to be a power position. He brought in the likes of A-Rod and other players that were... The shortstop was always a bat-your-weight type thing, be a solid defensive player. Totally reinvented the position. Played his entire career with one team. Elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Did you really need it, Cal? That's what I'm asking you right now. Did you really need to beat a guy's streak that was forced to retire because he was dying? I want to tell you something about Lou Gehrig. Died, obviously, of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. 2 weeks after Lou Gehrig pulled himself from the lineup, went to his coach and said, "Coach, I'm not at my best today. I think today's the day." Okay? Pulled himself so his team could win. That's the kind of character we're talking about. It happened at Briggs Stadium in Detroit, actually. I read that. So Cal Ripken comes along. I respect the fact that he played that amount of games, but I think the right thing to do for Cal Ripken would have been to play 21-30, tie the record. Cal Ripken's a Hall of Famer regardless. Much more respect given to Cal Ripken if he would have took the next day off. And I'm telling you right now, the baseball world would have understood. The baseball world would have congratulated him on that, because congratulations, Cal Ripken, you beat a dead guy's streak because he couldn't play anymore. And I'm animated about this because of the fact that, well, look what ALS has brought us in the last few years. We're learning how bad this disease is. Lou Gehrig was playing with it. For how long? We don't know. Only he would know. But something wasn't right. And he continued that streak until he literally couldn't walk on the field. I'm not going to blame this all on Cal Ripken. I think Cal Ripken has been a good sport for baseball.
He's
I
been a
think
good ambassador for
I think
baseball, for
ambassadors
sure,
ambassador is the word I'm
Yes.
looking for. But I do want to say that I think Cal should have put his foot down, and I'm going to tell you why. Yes, it's just a respect issue. I just want to say this. Did he need the streak? No. So we've been over that. He was going to be a Hall of Famer. There's nothing wrong with tying somebody. There's nothing wrong with having your name. No one's going to break that streak. There's nothing wrong with it. You and Lou Gehrig sharing that. Okay? Lou Gehrig died 2 years after he walked off the field. That's how quick this goes. So he never got to see any of this, obviously. But it's just one of those things. Lou Gehrig, if he didn't have this disease, probably another couple years in him playing at a top level. The streak would have been so much further out, but it's just one of those things. Bad luck, health. He was forced to retire early. So I want to go on record to say that I don't think this was Cal's idea. I think Cal Ripken was forced to break the streak. And I want to say why. So Major League Baseball was just coming off the 1994 strike. They were having a really hard time getting fans back in the ballpark. There's a couple events that happened that brought them back. Did they stay? For a little bit. But these were the two events that put butts in seats for baseball for a year or two. The home run race, which is an unbeatable record. Big surprise that the home run race is now being questioned. Were the balls juiced? Obviously, they were both roiding it. But was that record just fed to them? That's what people think. I do want to put out that, isn't it amazing that two of the longest standing records in baseball fall right after this,
within the same decade, yeah.
Within 2 years.
Yeah.
So within a couple years, two of the greatest records in baseball are broken to put people back in the seats because fans were so pissed at Major League Baseball for striking in 1994 that the fans weren't coming back. So I think Cal Ripken, maybe he wanted to tie the streak to have the record, but I think baseball stepped in because there were times during that year that he wanted to take a day off. I just watched a documentary on it. He was sick a couple times, and he said, "I'm good, guys. I don't need to play today." But he went out and played because they wanted that television exposure. They wanted, and to this day, I believe it's the second most watched baseball game in history.
It makes money, right?
That's
the
right.
idea. It makes
That's right.
money. And money is what we talked about a couple of shows ago, that it drives the sport.
So I'm not so much mad at Cal Ripken for breaking the streak. I'm more pissed off about baseball if they forced him to continue it. Cal Ripken was he didn't need to make any more money. He didn't need to have these records. Like I said, first ballot Hall of Famer regardless. But Adam, yeah, we can't say those words on air. But anyways. The thing about it is, it just upsets me that the guy had to retire due to a severe illness. The classy thing to do there, and there's another way you can do this where he still gets all the credit, but Gehrig gets to keep the record. A baseball game's not official until the fifth inning. Cal Ripken could have came out and played 4.5 innings that night and then took a bow and said, technically, I played more, but I'm just going to tie him. But I'm here because the television thing, we're going to stop it at 21:30.
What do you think would have happened if he would have done that?
I think the place would have went.
Major League Baseball would have revolted against him?
So I think the people there would have absolutely lost their mind out of respect and just gave him. They already gave him massive applause, standing ovation. But I think when it would have sank in what he did for that record or for Lou Gehrig, I think that would have put him on the Mount Rushmore of baseball. But breaking Lou Gehrig's record, who is arguably on the Mount Rushmore of baseball, kind of tarnishes it because of the fact that Lou Gehrig had to relinquish it.
Yes, so I do have a couple of questions for you. What records then should not be broken?
I think all records should be broken if they were obtained by someone that had the ability to push it.
Like I almost
So
wonder
Lou
because-
Gehrig, like I'm saying, Lou Gehrig's record would have been pushed out so much further had he not had that disease.
Yeah, and we'll never know what.
We
that
never
would have
know,
been, right?
but
if all records are supposed to be broken, I know you can't hold it against Cal Ripken, and whether or not he actually wanted to break the record is we don't know. Whether or not it was an actual want or whether or not it was a need by baseball to do that. But if you look at someone like Mario Lemieux, for instance, who arguably one of the best players in hockey, got leukemia, potentially could have been on pace to break a couple of Gretzky's records.
points per game, he was very close.
So what is that? What's your feelings on that then?
Well, that's just bad fortune for Mario Lemieux. He didn't set the record and then beat a dying guy's record.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I do, but it's unfortunate for Lou Gehrig that he also ended up with a disease that ended his career prematurely. That's not the fault of anybody who was playing at the time. And I understand that we don't know what would have happened had he not gotten the disease, so on and so forth. But if he
continued on,
it's a stat, and it's a stat.
I know it's a stat.
That
if he would have continued on, maybe Cal Ripken's 300 games away, and he says, you know what, I got the flu today, enough's enough.
Yeah. I can understand the idea about the respect of it, but there's also the pride thing and the ego thing that professional athletes probably
Of course.
So Ripken, yes, Hall of Famer. Ripken, yes, records.
Another interesting thing that I read though, Cal Ripken said that he probably shouldn't have been playing every game that year because he was having a terrible season.
Right.
So they literally kept him in the lineup, win, lose, or draw, because they wanted this record broken. So that's another thing that really, really pissed me off about it, because Ripken himself said, I was batting like .227 for the entire month. I shouldn't have started every game. So that's one of the things that I think Ripken realizes now, that maybe breaking the record was something that obviously it happened, but maybe it's something if he had the chance. Maybe no one's ever said that to him. Hey, Cal, do you think maybe you should have tied it and then took a bow?
Maybe. But
Pete Rose for the Hall of Fame, damn straight.
But the idea is that you're a professional athlete and you want to win.
That's right.
And you want to get your.
But there's no win. There's no winning in that record.
But there is, because now your name is forever enshrined as the longest running. You're the Iron Man of baseball.
I get it. I get it that he has a record, but he would have been the Iron Man of baseball if he tied it as well.
I understand that. Okay, we got 5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes for questions on the clock. Pete Rose for the Hall of Fame, abso-freaking-lutely. Pete Rose, the greatest, the most most hits in baseball history.
I agree with that, yeah.
Pete Rose is, I do want to put this out there, Pete Rose does belong in the greatest Hall of Fame on earth, the WWF Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame.
Why is he undefeated?
No. Vince McMahon, being the genius that he is, put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame because Pete Rose deserves to be in somebody's Hall of Fame.
All right.
He was what's celebrity wing?
Manager or something?
No, he's in the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame. Who else is in there? They got Mike Tyson in there? Tyson, yeah. Luke's here with us. He's a wrestling expert. But I do want to say that the tea this week, what's it called?
Organic Saigon Chai.
Organic Saigon Chai?
Whoa!
Drew Carey's in the WWE Hall of Fame. Yes. Organic Chai Jirgabadi Thai. It tastes like pumpkin spice, and it's not my thing. He doesn't agree with me. I don't know. What do you think? It smells like pumpkin pie.
I don't know. Just different taste buds, I guess. I don't know. I just like trying things different. I'm a green tea guy. I drink green tea, and that's.
I just want to put this out there. My taste buds might be a little more advanced than yours.
Well, you know what? After the talk about the Kentucky Derby, I do notice that there's a little bit of this, I think, going around in this place.
I've had the pleasure of eating a hot brown, so I'm out there in the stratosphere as far as taste buds. Let's put it that way. But anyways, again, Kentucky Derby ran on Saturday. One of the cool topics. We're not always going to talk about hockey here. I don't think we even really touched on it this week.
No, not really.
Just maybe in What's Your Sport and watching sports. So a little bit different for you guys this week. Tell us what you thought about the topics.
Yep.
Pretty good. We maintained about 10 live viewers.
Yep.
If you're watching on the replay, definitely hit the like button. We do notice that a lot of people are watching on the replay. Out of Bounds is slowly gaining momentum, episode 1 and 2. We're trying to get to the milestone 100 followers or 100 subscribers. We're really pushing that right now.
Actually,
we're getting close. We think it'll snowball once we're there. But watch time, that's something that we're really proud of. When you guys tune in, you are staying tuned in for 15, 20 minutes for every episode. So we do have your attention. You guys maybe come back to it and watch the rest later. But, sometimes when I'm on YouTube, I'm just clicking videos and moving along.
Quick, yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that we're garnering some interest from you guys, pretty cool.
Yeah, if you're liking what you see, let us know. If you're not liking what you see, let us know, because
one of our new subscribers, Owen Carroll, says he knows your teas.
Owen's a former student of mine, so I get mad props for him.
All right. How old's Owen?
He'd be grade 10 or 11 right now, I think.
He's young. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, he knows a lot more than you think.
All right, but he doesn't know me. You don't want to know me.
So anyhow, when you're done with the video, hit like now, because when you're on the video, you can like it while we're doing it
live.
That makes a big difference for us in terms of the YouTube analytics, and helps push the channel out to people who might not see it, and help drive up the audience, and help generate conversation for these types of shows.
So I was always told growing up, especially in politics, people like to vote for a winner. Okay? So it's one of these things where if people come on and see likes on our videos, they'll be like, why are so many people liking this video? I better watch this. So if you're watching right now and you haven't done so yet, definitely like the video if you enjoyed it tonight. You don't have to do anything else. Maybe leave a comment, say what your favorite part was. But, like I said, we've got a minute left on the clock, a minute left to go in out of bounds. We made pretty good time tonight. We didn't have to use OT.
Absolutely. Real quickly, one of the things that we were talking about was Wednesday doing an NFL prediction show. We are hoping that Wednesday is going to work for us.
Yes.
So keep an eye out for that. We will let you know whether or not that will go live.
That will be YouTube exclusive as well.
Yes, it will.
We will predict everything. Divisions. We're going to do divisions, playoffs, and your Super Bowl champion. I can do that. MVPs on both sides.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right.
And we would love for you to be a part of that. So study up on your football, because we love talking about it.
Absolutely. I'm so psyched that football's coming back this week. Like I said, it's probably the best sport to watch on television. Live, it's terrible. But obviously, my favorite sport to watch on television is football. Funny last names in hockey. Fred, definitely something we can throw in there. I don't know. Who's a good example of a funny name in hockey?
I don't know. Clutterbuck?
Peter Zezel?
Cal Clutterbuck?
Cal Clutterbuck? Yeah. We could definitely do that.
Okay, we'll look into it.
We'll look into funny names in hockey. UFC, it would be like tonight was Brandon not knowing anything about horse racing. If you throw me into UFC, I can kind of work my way around it. You know what I mean? But I'm not a big fan. Brock Lesnar, we did talk about last week. Another thing we want to mention, we lost a couple legends this week. Tom Seaver. Yes. And Lou Brock. We always want to give a shout out to them. May they rest in power. Lou Brock and Tom Seaver, two of the biggest names in baseball. We unfortunately lost them this week, but it's going to keep happening, folks. Our heroes of yesteryear aren't getting any younger. It's just one of those things, and it's sad to say. So
okay, and with that, time to go.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, like and subscribe. We already went over that. If you're watching on the replay, tell us what you thought. Also, like and subscribe. But we will see you hopefully Wednesday night with the NFL draft. NFL prediction show. NHL draft's coming up. That's why I had that on the mind. That's October 8th, I believe.
Yes, we'll be doing a show.
We'll be doing that as well. And those are special out of bounds episodes. Those are not your traditional 5-topic episodes. Turn on notifications.
See, Owen knows what he's talking about. On YouTube, you can hit the notification button, so when we're live, you'll actually get a notification that will pop up to your phone, say, hey, so-and-so is live, Rocket Sports Cards is live.
Awesome.
You can just tune in.
So thank you for everybody tuning in tonight. We had a lot of fun with some different topics tonight. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We will see you guys Wednesday for NFL and Thursday for singles night.
Thank you very much, guys.
Take care, guys.
See ya.